very good at this, but maybe with a little practice, I could tell myself to relax it. Will be better next time I try. And even if I still can't do it yet, you know that I'm gonna stick to it. Yes, it's all about going through it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Whoopsie, whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see I'm better at this today. Woo! Whoopsies, 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 whoopsies.
I'm a little embarrassed when I look at my drawing compared to this. I'm just not getting anywhere with this. It makes me wanna hide. Aw, don't be embarrassed. Don't hide.
You should have seen mine the first time I tried. It took a lot of whoopsies to look this way.
No one's perfect on their first day. Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay.
It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsies, 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 whoopsies.
Well, what about this? I want to jump rope, but nope, I just can't do it.
Well, not yet. Come on and practice with me. You'll see there's nothing to it.
Whoa! Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see I'm better at this today. Woo!
It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. I know it's hard to follow the fight's too long. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me. It's hard. Wake up.
What is up? What is up, you guys? We are back at it again. Another epic day here in 100 Days of Rootkit. Today we're going to continue our journey with our project, building upon it, solve the persistence issue. Hopefully you guys did also. So loading and then doing the commands, right? We're almost done. We're almost done. Once we finish this, because this is kind of a teaser here. This is kind of a taste of what the practical exam may or may not entail. Alright? So once we finish this one, then we'll do another practical example. We'll see what you guys would like to see. And we'll build it out. Alright? I might add some more difficulty to it if it's not up to par to where it needs to be. But yes. Because again, these are very, very relevant. Everything we're teaching you is very relevant to the exam. All right. Well, not completely. Yeah, everything is relevant to the exam to an extent, or your dev career. Because I mean, going off and doing like scene stuff, you don't have to do C, but it's totally up to you. We definitely did want to show off pointers and the data structures, though. But before we go on any further side tangents, let's finish up our intro here. If you don't know, we are a rootkit nonprofit organization here in the US of A. Don't go to college. Don't go to any other boot camp. I just talked to someone from our Discord earlier today talking about he went to a boot camp and it was not worth it. I ain't lying, you guys. They're not worth it. Do not go to them. Do not spend any money on them. They are not worth it. They are just scamming you. Do not do it. We are here, you were watching right now, which means you've already started your journey. Keep watching all 100 days. We are going to cover everything you need to know to pass our CompSci exam. All right? And the roadmap is also on the GitHub. On top of all this free stuff we're doing, if you go over to the blog section, we have our week 13 giveaway live now. So make sure you go enter to win some merch. All right, completely free. All you have to do is press that green button here and then show that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, following us on Twitch, etc., various other things, and you just auto get free entries. On top of that, we are a nonprofit, so that means that you can donate today. All donations are 100% tax deductible. So, hey, avoid your taxes, donate. Depending on how much you donate, you can unlock certain rewards like our epic stickers, our collab t-shirt, and our epic sweater. Along the way, we have these pillars like teaching for 24 hours straight, shaving my head here live on stream, and shaving my beard. All donations are matched 1-for-1 for the first 10,000 donations. So make sure you donate. All right, let's get that bar rolling. All right, yep. Edge. We are fully dedicated to Edge right now, and Bing, because we want that good old Bing chat. So let me go and bring up Bing chat right here. So that way we are all prepped for our journey. Now I guess one more thing to mention. I am in the Discord. So if you are a Patreon or Discord premium member, and by that I mean you're subscribed to our server, all right, then you can go ahead and jump into the events chat and start chatting away. All right, you can use your voice. You don't need to type. If you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, you're stuck with typing. All right, you're stuck with typing. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. All right, let's see here. Side tangent. Look, I tell you guys all the time. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, go and put them in the chat before we continue on. But as you do that, look, I tell you guys constantly, look, explore different new up-and-coming things. Don't just watch a YouTube video and call it good, especially if it's something potentially big, right? Actually program it. Actually go down and program it, because hey, Web3 is here to stay. It ain't going away. If you didn't see, there was Citibank. Let me put this. Citibank published an article recently talking about crypto and titled "Money, Tokens, and Games," and it's really, really good in regards to breaking down the pros here and what's going to potentially be happening in the next couple of years. And by potentially, like, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. And potentially the market cap they see. So these are in regards to CBDCs, which is slightly different than the crypto you are familiar with right now. But I mean, they have some pretty graphics here, which everyone loves, laying out the potential growth that they can see happening here soon. I highly recommend, if you haven't already, spend some time messing with blockchains and that tech and programming in it. It's 100% free. Do not invest money. This is not for money investments. You're an idiot if you're going to do that. All right. Use it for the dev technology. All right. It's completely free to go in and start deving applications on these, on their dev nets. 100% free. It's all free. So just do it. Mess with it. See how it could integrate into your platforms today. All right. So let us jump into our regular programming here. Our game server. All right. We've been chugging along here at the game server. Yesterday we got a little stuck. All right. We got a little stuck, but we figured it out. All right. Well, after stream I figured it out, and I challenge you guys to figure it out. All right. So let's go over the issue and show how we were able to alleviate it, and that will check off this nice little box here on our to-do list. So we're almost done with this application. So if we go over to player management, so what was happening is the issue is we were trying to pickle, right? We were trying to pickle a object that contains sockets, and then I'm going to assume the threads would also throw an issue. All right, there are some objects that you just can't pickle. All right, they are just not great for storage in a file, and they won't really just auto remove themselves. So you might have to do some work to remove them yourselves. So the workaround that I got here going is a empty dictionary called player sanitized. And we're going to go over all of the current players, all right, every single player, and we're going to add a new function to that player called export. So if we go over here, players now have a new function attached to them called export. All this will do is return so it's going to create a brand new player object from scratch, and it will clone that it will clone its information to that new player object, except keeping the potentially hazardous things as none, and then returns it. All right. So basically making a secondary object manually and leaving out all the things that may potentially cause an issue, and then saving that off. All right. So this completely works. Now we have this save pickle here file, and you can see it grow in size every time we do Python, and we want to run our server. Oh, we need to cd into our directory. Python, our server. So our server is now running. We'll go ahead and cd into our directory here and Python client, and we can see this grow. So let's add a new person in here. Let's say Tony, and look at that. Brand new file. I guess this wiped out everyone from before it because we don't have loading set up yet, which we're about to do. But if we go and add Bob now, you'll see it grow in size. Look at that. It grew in size, and we add Alice, and it grows in size. It will continuously grow in size, but everything is being saved successfully now. This is super awesome and a great point for us to do a commit. So let's go ahead and go to the top. This is the game server. So let's go ahead and do a commit. But before we do, we don't want to save or commit binary data. That's the general rule of thumb. Now, you can if you need to, but generally you don't want to commit binary data. That includes binary data like our save pickle here. There should be no reason why we even push this up in the first place, because every time someone runs the server, they'll be generating their own. So let's go ahead and git ignore this file here. So we can just go to the very end here and say git ignore save.pickle, and we'll go and save. Now it's ignoring that save pickle. We don't want to be storing that off. So let's go and do a git add all, and There we go, git commit. And now we can say that we have saving of player data successful. There we go. So let's go ahead and save that and git push. All right, sweet. So we did that part, which was a fun roller coaster ride, and we learned a lot on the way. Now there's kind of a secondary part. We need to do the loading. All right, so let's check our README real quick. Keep track or keep all the user info persistent to a file. We did this. From this, we should probably make a new task that says load, because we don't really have anything here for loading. So let's add another one for loading user information. Load all user info from the saved file. All right, sweet. So we need to now incorporate this. All right, we need to incorporate this because we got saving down and then we saw the saving works, but we need to now get the what do you call it? Yes, saving. Oh, I don't know why I was blinking right there. So let's go and clear this and think about a little bit how we would do this. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns before we chug along here that I can address before we get into the loading portion? All right. I don't see anything, so let's go ahead and chug along, shall we? Let's see here. The player management, let's look at that. Let's look at player and server. So I'm going to close everything and then just bring up server. So when the server starts, we want to read in, we create the player management object here. The player management object is what we are pickling, right? Well, player sanitize. I guess that is a part of the player management object. So every single time we do want to create the player management object, but we do want to load up players based off the player sanitize object that we are saving to the file. And we don't want the IDs to be a little messed up. So we should also be loading the next ID. So that is something we may have to revisit because we don't really have any logic per se for saving what the largest ID or next ID was. So maybe we'll have to modify our saving here. But before we do, let's go ahead and just see this in action. I think we should be able to save pretty easily or load pretty easily here. So after player management, this is where we want to effectively do, when we do PM players, we want to replace this from the info that we saved to the file. So instead, let's open up that file and we can write that from scratch, or we can go here and steal our with statement. And we want this to be reading binary data from save pickle. And in here, we're going to, oh, perfect, it wrote it. And we got to import pickle. All right, perfect. So we want to pickle load the information from the file. This is, yep, this wants the file pointer. So we'll load the information from the file and it will throw it into players here, which is perfect. This should be it for loading. Literally just that simple. I know there's a lot for saving, making sure we save correctly, but for loading, it's just that simple. All right, may change a little bit for our ID modification, but hey, this is good enough for now. Let's go and test this, make our little baby steps before we make that modification. God beard, oh, thanks, Rizla. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and test this out, and then we'll ask for questions afterwards. So let's go ahead and do Python and our server here. And on the new one, let's go ahead and cd into our game server and do Python and our client. Now, we do know, you may forget who exists in our save here, all right? So if we look, you might be able, even though it's binary data, sometimes there will be data that you can still pull out and understand. Particularly strings are notoriously, when saved, are notoriously not encoded, which we can change if we would like. But we can see here that we have Tony, we have Alice, and we have Bob. So when we type in a username here and we say something like Bob, this file, if everything worked correctly, should not shrink in size like we saw before. It got completely replaced. It shouldn't grow in size. We should be logging into Bob. All right. I don't remember his coordinates, which is in binary, so we can't really just look and see. But let's see if it works. Bob, enter, and look at that. Nothing here is new. We loaded in as Bob. I guess that's where he was last time. Let's load in as Alice. Oh, whoops. We gotta start up our client here. Load up as Alice, and that, I feel like that just changed something. I don't know if it got rid of Bob or not. Doesn't look like Bob's here anymore. That was really, really weird. Yeah, Bob's not in here anymore. Interesting, so we might have a little bit of bug. Let's log in as Alice again. All right, we logged in as Alice again. It did change the data a little bit. Is Alice moving? I didn't even look. No, Alice is still always in the same spot. Let's log in as Bob again. That added new data, and Bob is definitely in a new spot now. And let's try our last guy here, Tony. Interesting. Maybe, is it because we did Bob, but with a, I think it's the capitalization. So, the bug that I think we're running into right now is the capitalization of the name. Potentially might be it. So we could start there. We need to do more testing in regards to that. But let's go ahead and track along. We know this is working to a certain degree, right? We know this is working to a certain degree. We are loading in all of our players from our last play session, all right? They are in this file, and we're able to relog in as them to a certain degree, all right? So let's go ahead and we need to make the modification for our IDs here. We need to be tracking the next ID. So what we can do in regards to that is modify our object here a little bit. So instead of this containing all of the players that are sanitized, this can include all of the players, and it will include the ID. So we can call this something else because the name doesn't really matter too much. So we'll say PM package. All right, we'll just call this our PM package because it's the package we're going to save to the file. And we're going to want it to contain the players, but we want it also to contain the ID. And that will actually work for us. And then for players here, we just need to modify our logic because now we're going to want to have it look at players, all right, when it's adding the new players here. So now this is going to save all of the players just like before, except one dimension down on our dictionary, and we're going to save the ID, all right? We're going to save the latest ID, and we're going to use this as our new load point for our ID system. So now when we go over to our server, we're going to need to modify this because we can't just drop players right here, all right? Instead, we're going to have to just make this a little three-parter of pickles load, and this will be our PM package equals, and then our PM package will be a dictionary that has players that will load into PM players, and then PM dot, and we need to set that there we go. Next ID. All right, that next ID. The reason why we're doing the __ next ID, and it's technically not proper to use the hidden variables here, so we should go about making a function for this. We're not going to do that right now, but I'm letting you know you should go about doing that. You want to use the __ one, because if we use the property that we defined right here, it will automatically increment to the next ID, which we don't want to do that. We want to be in the place that we currently are, all right? Which is held by the hidden __ next ID. Any questions on that so far? All right, any questions on that so far? While you guys ask your questions, I'm just going to go ahead and rerun this and show that it is working. And show that it's working. I think it's... Oh, we didn't save yet. So this is also an issue that we could run into, which I guess we could also... right now it will run into an issue. Basically, this logic is for version 2.0, basically. And our save file has outdated logic. So we can solve that by making a function that will track the version number that's stored, so we can make another field here for the version number of our save, and we'll pipe it then appropriately to the right function for loading. But that's a little overkill right now for us. So instead, what it also reveals to us is that we got to put this in try and catch, because currently it's causing issues. Specifically, it will, believe it will cause another issue for us if the file doesn't exist. So effectively, if there is ever a issue with the save file, instead of failing, it will just simply save the save file and start the server, and now it will just overwrite the save file with the new stuff. All right, so we'll overwrite the save file with the new stuff. So no save file found. Continuing. There we go. Continuing. So let's go ahead and run our server. So we're going to have to run this server twice. All right. Once to make some characters and save them, and then again for reading from the file. So let's go ahead and cd game server, and we're going to need to Python and to our client. Here we're going to go ahead and say Bob. All right, Bob is made. Let's go ahead and make Alice. All right, Alice is made. Let's go ahead and check our save file here, and we'll see that everything is in here right now. Nice, we got Bob and we got Alice. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's go ahead and Bob. So Bob is right here, middle of the bottom row. Alice is the first tile, -2, -3. Now that we have a mental image of that, let's go ahead and close our server. And now let's rerun our game server. It should load up. Python. It should load up our save here. Uh-oh. No save file found. Interesting. That is an issue, because we are definitely saving the new version. It didn't throw an error for saving it. We saw the new data show up. So let's go ahead and see what the error was. Let's go and put this in a let's go ahead and print the exception. Let's see what the error was. You know what? I'm just gonna unindent this so we can just see the whole stack, and I don't have to write all the additional logic for it right now. Save, open the save in a read, pickle load, package, players, next ID. Oh, that's why. Players ID. We call this ID, not next ID. All right, that would definitely cause an issue. So now if we run the server, it shouldn't error out on the file load. Oh, we got a CD into our directory here. So Python and server. There we go. All right, so that was the issue. We just, you know, we typed the wrong thing here. We needed ID instead of the next ID. So now that we have that solved, let me go ahead and re-add this into its try except state. And we have the loading solved. One last thing I do want to do is when the client sends the data over to the server, we're not really doing, we're doing a bad right now. Because what did I tell you guys over and over again the last couple days? The user is your worst enemy. Right? The user is your worst enemy. So anything the server's not making itself or doing itself, you should be double, triple, and quadruply checking. Raw input is the most important thing to sanitize, and then lower on the hierarchy list would be something like our save file here. Since we manufactured it ourselves, we can inherently trust it, but we should also build something so if it doesn't conform correctly, it gets a no-no, which automatically kind of gets done right here in our try and accept. And since we're using a class, we could make, you know, getters, setters in there and to load it up in a different way where the logic of the getters and setters wouldn't force proper setup. All right. So I won't worry about that too much. It's more so the input we're getting from the client. Dirty users. All right. So particularly for usernames. So where did we do usernames? Let's go to our server here, player spawn, our run, and here we go. This is where we're getting our username, and we have absolutely no logic here for fixing things up, making sure it's clean, good, etc., etc. So we need to make some logic here. We're going to make very simple logic. If it doesn't adhere to what we want, we're going to just end the connection, not even say anything. We're just going to end it and be like, oh, we're done with you. All right, you couldn't listen. All right, we're out of here. So what we want to do for our username is, one, store everything. Since the username is being used for storage of for the key in the player manager here, let me find the username. It's an important item. Additionally, it must be a valid string. Yeah, you could have some numbers at the end, but let's make it so it's the easiest way right now. If we make it so no one can have any numbers in their name, it just needs to be alphabetical characters. Luckily, Python has that pre-built in for checking, which we've already seen before. So let's go ahead and do a if self.username dot, and we want is, I don't know what. There's literally right. Okay, whatever. Is alpha. And just looking at the other ones, I don't want to even mess with alphanumeric right now. You could do alphanumeric. I'm just gonna do is alpha right now because it's just the easiest to get and move forward. So we want to change this if statement a little bit. So if they didn't give us something that's valid, then we want to just end it all. All right, we just want to end it all. So this connection here, we want to close our connection because we want to be proper about this. So we want to close our connection, and we can also print here that username was invalid. We could be more specific about this. We could say username from this address with this port was invalid. We do dot format here and say self dot what did we name it? Thread. Did we? I don't think we actually passed the. Yeah, I don't think we passed the adder. What do we have on the connection itself? Let's check that out. Does that work? What have you generated for me? What is this madness? I have no clue if this was going to work. I just wanted to see on self.connection. I just want to see what's right here. So they do have family. Receive, send, timeout, type. What is this? Get peer name. Get peer name, get sock name. What does peer name give us? A return address. Is that I guess we'll figure out here what it is. So let's go ahead and just run this and see what happens. So Python into our game server. Oops, CD into our game server. Python our server, and let's go ahead and have a... Oh, the server's already running. Let's close this one. Let's go ahead and run our server now. Next ID. Oh, whoops. We did mess that up. It's really annoying. So maybe we might add some logic in here for making our Control C work, because this is getting really, really annoying. Or I can just press F5. That's probably a better way to go about doing it. So let's go ahead and CD game server Python client. Let's make our client connect, and we want to do Bob. Bob connected, and in here, okay, this we got to give it a bad name. So let's give it a bad name of just numbers and press enter. There we go. And this, oh, perfect, right there. Username from this IP address with this port was invalid. Valid. So let's clean up our string here. So again, the beauty of using AI, it's just auto magically is helping us write code here, and we didn't even have to look this stuff up. All right. So let's change this a little bit. So user assistant, all right, if available, user assistant, it will make things way faster. I mean, you could have just asked Bing Chat and it would probably produce the same results, but this is great to know. All right, I didn't even know this would work, so this is absolutely beautiful. We're all learning new things here on our journey, so this is super awesome. So again, if they give us something invalid, we only will accept alphanumeric characters. If they don't give us that, then we're going to close this connection. All right, because we missed some sanitation, so now we have some sanitation. The last thing we want to do is we want to make it so all usernames are lowercase by default. All right, or we could also make it so the nicety, like they're, look, it's up to you on how you want to do it. I'm going to make it so they're all going to be lowercase, period. All right, and it's like it heard me. Right, I swear, this thing, I swear it's listening to the live stream right now. All right, so this should stop any potential issues that we were having before, hopefully in regards to our save file and names kind of being in a mismatched state. So let's just run one last test to see if all of this is running golden. All right, let's have our client connect, and let's say Bob. All right. And there we go. We have Bob on the screen here. And let's go ahead and run this again and get Alice over here. And sweet, Alice is on. And if we go over to the server, we can see Bob. I thought I did delete it. Oh, there's the save pickle, right? Oh, the save pickle's in a new location. Okay, I didn't delete that one. So we can see that Bob and Alice are all lowercase in here, even though I did a capital case. This should stop potentially any issues. So let me go ahead and stop this and then rerun it. And we shouldn't have any reload issues anymore. So let me go ahead and we can see where Bob and Alice was. So let's go ahead and log back in as Bob. There we go. We're in the same spot, and let's relog as Alice. And Alice showed up in a slightly different spot. So slightly concerned on why that is. Bug, we're not going to look into it right now. I encourage you guys to look into it and figure it out. Right? Because it's we don't want to diverge on bugs right now. We got bigger fish to fry right now. So that is a known bug. So what do you do for known bugs? We leave it to do somewhere to investigate for later. So most likely this has to do with, I'm assuming, when you're reloading. Regardless, I don't know. We'll just put it right here. So to do bug on load, some people will spawn in a new location. All right, so you just do that, and there you go. You're good. you can mark it. Let's go ahead and do a git commit. So git add all, cd into the game server, git add all, git commit, added loading of the save file. We'll go and push that up, and whammo bammo, we have done it. Another major feature complete. Let's go ahead and update our README here, because we forgot to do that. Let's go and do another git add all, git commit, and updated README to reflect. Git push. There we go. We are all dandy now. We've pretty much done all the changes we need to do in regards to this branch, which is all about user info persist. Now we are persisting user info and loading it back up from a file. So we're on to our last steps here. All right, making commands that the client can usher, the server will then read and respond to. We're just going to make a move and a what do you call it? A move and then an attack. All right. So we say here a combat command, which is our attack, and one extra command, which is going to be our move. And we just need the client to be able to execute these commands. So let's go ahead and first merge this into dev. All right. Merge this into dev. So let's go ahead and show you again on how to do this. The chat. Is this pre-recorded? No, this is not pre-recorded. He did not respond to anything I wrote. Look, I didn't check. I'm not checking the chat 24/7. All right, chill. What are we doing? This is day 90 of 100 days of rootkit. So we, just like the title says, we finish up with making things persistent on our multi-threaded server, and now we're on, just like I said, to doing commands. All right, so let's go ahead and show again for you guys in GitHub. Well, maybe we'll change it up this time. All right, we'll show it in GitHub, but we won't actually go through with it. And then we'll do a rerun of how you would do this manually, which again doesn't have all the niceties that GitHub does, because it is again a wrapper. All right, so for our pull request, we go to our repo, we do pull request, new pull request. You're going to say that you want to put it into dev, and our new stuff here, user info persist. There we go. Create the pull request. Again, this is just a GitHub visual wrapper. This does absolutely nothing for you at the actual Git level. This is purely for you to use the website, have other people review what you did before fully committing to merging things in. All right. This allows for things like automated testing and lots of other fancy stuff that you'll learn about on your journey and any job that you go to. All right. Even though we made this, nothing has actually happened on our Git repo itself. All right. This time we're going to show, because it's been a while, how to do it manually. This doesn't have any prettiness. If things are messed up, doesn't matter. It's going to go through and things are just going to be messed up. So it's potentially very dangerous when you do it this way. All right. So typically you don't want to, unless, you know, if it's a personal project of yours, it's up to you on how by the book you want to be. All right. So let's go ahead and get a git status so we can see what branch we're on. We're on user info persist. So let's go ahead and git check out to dev, because remember, just like how it says it's a pull request, all right, we're pulling the changes into the branch we currently are in right now. All right. That's why they call it a pull request on GitHub. I don't like that nomenclature. Other products like GitLab call them merge requests. I like that way more. It makes more sense, especially to new players. But in GitHub, they call it pull request because, again, it's from the underlying command of we have to check out to the branch, our destination branch. We need to be in the destination branch, and we need to pull the changes into us. So once we're here, then we can do a git merge. All right, and we want to merge with our feature. And I'm just going to copy and paste this because that is a lot to type. let's go ahead and delete this beginning part. So we're going to merge into this, and we're going to go ahead and do techno FF and press enter, and bam. All right, we just did the merge. As you can see, there was no pre-approval process, reviewers, etc., etc. All right, it's just instant. All right, it's just instant. It's like pressing the green button. Again, for your personal projects, go ahead and do it. For work, if you're on a team, unless someone says you can do this, don't do it. All right, just stick so there's a log and you get everything on the site. All right, and everything can be tracked. So once we've done that, we can go and just do a git push, and now everything is up and synced with our remote server. If we go ahead and check our repo here, wow, that GitHub is a little smart. All right, it's a little smart. So it saw that we just did the merge manually, and I guess that auto merged and closed. That pretty much set our stuff here to a close state. I didn't even know it did that. All right, just because it shows up as merged here doesn't mean anything with GitHub happened in regards to this. All right, it's just a coincidence that they are tracking and reading stuff. But if we go over to our dev, you'll see that it was just updated 6 minutes ago because we just pulled all of our changes in. All right, any questions on that? Because it has been a while since we reviewed it, but again, it's on the exam, so you gotta know it, right? What you're doing. Thank you for explaining all this. It's explained very well. I just subbed. Love your explanation. Well, thanks, boss. Make sure you go and watch the rest of the days so you can learn everything you can need to know to get our comp sci cert. All right, 100% free to learn everything. All right, and if you're here right now, look at that. You're already here. You already typed in chat. You know what that means? You have a waiver to take the exam. You don't have to pay anything. What is it? If you go over to our repo or to our website, it's our comp sci cert. So it's a complete replacement for your computer science degree. So you don't need a degree. You can just get this, and whammo bammo, we get you a job. All right, it's just that simple. Don't go to any other boot camp. Don't. They're not even worth it. All right, they are just straight up scams. All right, they're going to charge you lots of money for no reason. All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns before we chug along here? We do have about like 15 minutes before we go on our typical 3 to 5 minute break. So I think what we'll do is we'll look at our the commands that we have to make, and we'll think about it a little bit. We'll explain and talk about how we might go about doing it. And then after the break is probably when we'll get, hands on keyboard and start typing away. All right, I don't see any other comments right now. So again, as always, while I'm talking and we're going through stuff, you guys can go and drop them in, and I'll eventually look at them. All right, so read me here. I want to know if what you teach is, just leave us on a cliffhanger. All right, so we have to make a combat command, and we need to make a move command. Even though our combat command is the first item here, again, doesn't mean that we have to go through these through top to bottom order. We can do them potentially any order we want. And in this case, there's no real point to perform combat if we're going to do like tile by tile combat, so you have to be right next to the person. If the players can't move first into position and then fight each other, all right? The only alternative we would have is having it so they randomly, we keep randomly making new players until they spawned really close to each other so we could have combat. So we should definitely do our make one extra command here, our move command first. So our move command is something that the player can do. So this should definitely be attached to the player, which is convenient because that again is where our main run thread is at. So what happens here is we've pretty much been connecting, right? Connecting to the client connects to us. We quickly do a thing, we sleep and then close. Instead of immediately closing, we need to go into potentially a while loop, all right, a forever loop. Or handle this in some other way. There are other ways in Python to go about handling this that's not as intensive as a while loop. All right, but we know how to do while loops, so we can start there. So we need to basically just be sitting and waiting and listening for our connection to come in, or a command to come in from the user. I guess we could also make a command for exiting, for ending their connection, so that way we can end it more cleanly if possible. So we know this time.sleep is in the perfect position where we should be replacing this with a while loop, and we need to listen, which we have the code here for somewhere. I can't see it right now. To listen for incoming data from the user. So let's talk about that here in a second because I see lots of comments right now. Relevant to app or website or servers exactly. It's relevant to every single one of those. It's the equivalent of a comp sci degree. We teach you all the fundamentals, so no matter what career path you're trying to go down, this is relevant. We are just teaching Python because it's just a universally used language for pretty much everything. You do not need to take the exam with Python. You can take the exam in any language you like, right? In any language you like. So the fundamentals and everything that we're teaching is what's most important, not the language itself. I'm an iOS dev interested in improving my skills, and I want to feel like I understand how everything is working. Then watch 100 Days of Rootkit. We teach you every single thing you need to know to pass our exam, which includes lots of fundamentals, pretty much everything you'd learn again in college and more, right? And more. I've been developing for 2 years. I am still learning always, and I always feel like I lack a lot. Congratulations, you'll always feel like that. The dev world is huge, and the more you learn that it's huge. It's kind of like the trippy like scene in movies and stuff where like you're running down a hallway, but as you run down it, it keeps like expanding and getting longer, and you never can get to the end. That's the dev world, all right? You will never feel like you're a complete pro at everything. You have two pretty much paths you can take. One is be the autistic king for a very specified slice of the dev world. So if it's iOS development, you do nothing but iOS development, and that's it. And you don't even look at anything else. That's how you become an absolute king, a SME, all right, subject matter expert, because you just stick to that, and that's what you do. And then there's other people that will broaden up and want to learn more and more stuff, and that varies on how broad some people go. That's kind of where I sit, but you can never be really amazing at any specific thing. You may be really good at a lot of things, but you're not going to be as good as someone that is dedicated to one simple lane. So it's up to you on how you want to go. What is the other path? Yeah, those are the two paths. So it's, again, it's all spectrum also, so you can lie in between them. So it's totally up to you on how you want to go about doing that. I recommend, as always with everyone, don't really worry about the money too much. As a dev, you'll make plenty of money, all right? I guess plenty of money also depends on what your definition of plenty of money is. Stick to things that you like, that you find passionate, that you're passionate about, that's fun, all right? If you stick to that, then life is good, all right? If you're going to do something that you don't really like, then you should just not do it. You should do something else, all right? Life's too short. Or learn to appreciate it. That is also an option, because sometimes you're not dealt, life doesn't deal you the best, cards, so you have to learn to appreciate where you are. All right. So let's finish up with our little thinking game here. So we know that we want to put the logic in here. Again, this is on the server side. So logic here for listening to client commands, right? So we need some type of logic here for listening to client commands. Depending on what the client sends us, the command, we need to then have functions for each command, right? So the question now is, how does the client issue commands. There are lots of ways we can go about this. And you can see this reflected in, for example, when we talked about networking and protocols, in the headers of things like the TCP packets, UDP packets, etc., etc. All right. One simple way, which is the way we're going to go about it, because it's very, very simple, is what we've already been doing. Client sends a string, we intercept the string, we read the string, and then we can do some action on that string or from that string, right? So we can do the same thing here. A client says move, sends a string that says move, and so we move. Or better yet, we can have an object, a class object that's in our shared folder here, that is for a command called move, that doesn't just say move, but also says where to move. Because again, move is too unspecified. Well, you want to move up, you want to move down, right, left, like where do you want to move exactly? So we have to include that data also. So as a refresher, let's go ahead and pull up the, let me bring it in Bing here because we're supposed to be using this one. Let's pull up the TCP header so we can kind of see the other options that you can do. Why these other options exist, again, is going to be bandwidth. Anything you're doing over the internet, again, we're bringing this up. You can't just be as crazy with what you do as if it was running locally, all right? You can't just be as gluttonous with how much data you consume. When you're sending things over the wire, it's best if you keep things as small as possible. All right, so that way there's less latency, less issues, less everything. All right, if you want this to be more available to more people and more countries, specifically if they have low bandwidth, you can't be a hog. You got to keep it small. So what they do here, again, bring up like the TCP header. This is the same thing for UDP or even the HTTP headers or whatever headers you want to look at. All right, they're doing the bare minimum. So your source port, your destination port will be the exact size of all the ports that are possible. Your sequence number and acknowledgement number are other pieces of data that are sent across. And then you have things like your flags here. So those are going to be, reserved the HLEN MLP. I don't think I've ever seen them. What do you call it? Here we go. Never seen them refer to that. There we go. Data offset, reserved, and control flags. That's what specifically I was looking for. The control flags are pretty much the option switches here, right? Per se, they could be our functions that you want to run, per se, all right? Because these are just going to be 1 bits, and each one's going to be a true or false switch, right? So you could go very compressed like this. Right? We're not going to, but this is a potential possibility and it's recommended. Additionally, this is always a fixed byte size. All right? In here, they have a field called window size. All right? Window size. This window size is going to tell us how big potentially the follow-up is going to be. The follow-up packet is going to be. All right? This is a static sized item because again, when we look at our TCP received here, we can't, if we want to send a file, you want to send me a file right now, you can't really just put in a random number. I don't know how large your file is. Is it a meg, a gig, a terabyte? All right, I can't just be going around putting these massive numbers in for each one of these. We're going to cause issues. So that's why usually 2 packets are sent, or 1 packet will be on top of another, right? Because the first part will basically be like, hey, I'm sending you data, it's coming up next, and it's going to be of X length long. So that way you can know exactly how long it's going to be and you won't be gluttonous, right? We're not going to show an example of that because we're just going to be sending strings, right? But again, if look into it, right? Look into it, go explore. Let's go ahead and check chat here real quick. Thank you. Is something that has to do with hacking? Are you interested in cybersecurity and ethical hacking? Yes, everything we teach is with a slight cybersecurity twist. So you will learn exploits. If you watched our previous days, we go over exploits, how you can introduce exploitable code, how to fix the exploitable code, how to exploit exploitable code. We did a variety of different showcases of that. And we run Hack the Flags, which are capture the flags, and other cybersecurity events. Our staff is all from previous backgrounds with various government organizations that have to do with cybersecurity. So we're very well versed. So if you have any questions, make sure you ask. That's a big issue with boot camps. Pretty much the people running most of them are fools, and they won't even teach cybersecurity. And colleges are just a waste of time and money. All right, the people that run colleges don't even care. They're just there to collect the paycheck. All right, they're still trying to figure out what cybersecurity is. All right. Noise, man, you're a hidden gem. Yeah, well, go tell your friends, go subscribe. So we're about top of the hour, so we did discuss right now what we need to go over and what we need to end up programming. So before we start programming up, we've gone about an hour, so let's go ahead and take our 3 to 5 minute break. When we get back, we'll go ahead and try to program it all out before the end of the class today. If not, we'll just drag it on to tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you guys in 3 to 5 minutes. Alrighty. We are back, ready to continue our adventure here. I see there are some more comments, so we'll go ahead and address those real quick before doing our intro. I've been watching 100 Days Rootkit, some of the stuff I know, but probably be best to start from the beginning and learn everything again. Love your content. Very informative and easy to understand. The way you explain things, keep up the work. Thanks so much, Bruce. Yeah, man. Luckily for you, if you're not watching live, you don't have to be tortured. All right. When I ramble about stuff, you can just skip it, and you can skip through. I recommend starting from day one. I recommend everyone from starting from day one because it's set up on purpose the way we did it. Because right now that we think that's the best way. We are considering altering the layout just a little bit. So if you would like, you can start more around day 40 just to start right into the programming stuff. I don't recommend that because the fundamentals will make the programming stuff easier, but arguably some of the programming stuff would make some of the fundamentals easier. So it's like a chicken and the egg situation. So we did it this way this time. I think next time we do 100 Days of Rootkit, which will be maybe later this year, like towards the end of this year, we might do a little bit more programming up front or intertwine it with some of the fundamental items. So that way there's a more like one-to-one correlation for each of them. We'll see. All right. Before we, this will end after 10 days. Yes, but we do live classes all the time. But before I go into that more, let's go ahead and finish up with our intro here. If you guys don't know, we are Rootkit, a non-profit organization here in the US of A. Don't go to college. Don't go to any other boot camp. All right? Waste of time, waste of money. You're already here. You're already watching. All right? You've already started on your venture through 100 Days of Rootkit. Learn for free. Get certified. The cert is free to take. You get a waiver if you're already here watching, which you guys are. You have to leave a comment though. So if you are watching on any of the previous days, make sure you leave a comment before the event is over. After that, you just have to pay for taking the certification exam, which I promise you, a lot cheaper than any other option. All right. On top of all this free goodness we're doing, we're going in throwing more free stuff out the way. Go over to our blog and we have our week 13 giveaway now live. We're giving away another mystery item. What is it? I don't even know. We'll figure out together on Sunday when we pull the item. How do you enter? Well, press the green button and congratulations, you have entered to win. All you have to do on top of that is, you can earn more entries by subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on Twitch, etc., etc. You get more entries, more chances to win. And we are a nonprofit, which means if you want to avoid your taxes, everyone does, all right? Screw the IRS. Start donating, all right? Avoid your taxes. Donate today. Depending on which you donate, you can unlock certain rewards like our Epic stickers, our collab t-shirt, and our Epic sweater. Limited time edition sweater just through the stream. So in 10 days, can't get the sweater anymore, which means that the inventory I have right now we're just probably going to start chucking at people because I don't want like 6, 7 sweaters that are all like extra large. All right. Also, all donations are matched 1-for-1 for the first 10,000 donations. So every time you donate, it's like donating twice as much. And we have pillars along the way, like teaching for 24 hours straight, shave my head here live on stream, and the goal that none of us want. All right, none of them wants to see us. No one wants to get to it. Shaving my beard. No one wants that. All right, so we don't even need to exist or acknowledge that exists. Some of you might be questioning why the hell we're using Bing. That's a great question. Because as a dev, you should always be exploring and experimenting. All right, exploring and experimenting. Microsoft's kind of on our streak right now. Only way to use Bing Chat, which is utilizing GPT-4, is by using the Bing browser. So we've converted for the last couple days here to utilize it, and it's been absolutely beautiful. All right, use the AI assistants available for you for everything you do. If you're not cool. You're just a loser. All right, get with the times. All right, start using the AI assistants immediately so you can be better than everyone else. All right, let's see here. So we have free access for the next 10. It's always free. All these are recorded on the YouTube channel. It's 100% free. The only thing that will be people that join after the event, and you guys have already typed here, so you guys can claim your voucher later on. I don't know why this icon keeps messing up. The only thing that costs is when you want to take your certification exam. If you don't have a waiver, it will cost $2.99 to take the certification exam currently for the comp sci degree. And by currently, I lie because it doesn't even cost that right now because I haven't changed the site to reflect the cost. So technically it's free. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone though. We do help you with getting your job placement, so you can check out right here some of the perks that you get when you are certified through us. Pretty much a steal. We want to help you to get a job. This is a true charity. We are losing lots of money. We're not sustainable. All right, we are like a pit on fire. All right, so trust me. If lots of people ask if this is a scam requires us asking for money. All right, we're not asking for any money. All right, so let's see. Yep. No, we do not want you to shave your beard, lol. It's magnificent. I agree with that. How do you plan to continue if this is not sustainable? Great question. We are making commercial products, so if you, I guess I didn't show it off today. If you haven't already, go ahead and go to deception.rootkitgarage.com, where you can go play around with our deception platform. On our deception platform, you can utilize the great powers of GPT and AI text-to-speech to generate absolutely realistic voices and scripts. We use it personally right now for generation of our... Let me open it up on Chrome. We use it right now for Rootkit for generation of our what do you call it? All of the audio and scripts for all the TikTok shorts that you see. So the TikTok shorts that you see, pretty much the video editors just throw up some stuff and the whole script and the audio is completely AI generated. Don't tell the people on YouTube, all right? It's all AI generated. We make it by the masses. The slowest thing is the video editors. So you can pretty much go in here. We're changing the site constantly. I'm almost done with Twitch support. So basically, TTS on Twitch channels, they can use it. So this is free to use to an extent. I guess I passed that by. I'll go to it in a second, but effectively you can go ahead and type in a prompt here. Let's say how to make burger. All right, generate text. So it will go ahead and, using the powers of AI and anime gods, generate how to make a burger. There we go. We got our instructions on how to make a burger. And from that, we can then choose one of the voices we have on here, which include my voice. All right. We are going to add more voices. I've just been working on the site, so voices are really easy to add. But to show off some of the pre-made stuff.
His website is really the shit.
Hold on. Let me go ahead and where's the... You want the link? Here's the link. pause this so it's a little bit louder.
His website is really the shit.
That's not
his website is really the shit.
That's not the best one. I'll play a better one here in a second. But yeah, pricing, it's 100% free. I'm gonna change this so it's a little bit easier to understand. But it's 100% free for text generation for the first 10,000 characters used. This rotates every billing cycle for you. So if you make an account today, in 31 days from now, you'll get another 10,000 for free. It does not roll over. So we'll start from the beginning. And then you're just charged that much per character afterwards. And then for audio gen, you get 1,000 characters for free, and then it's that much. And again, it's free every billing cycle. So you can use it completely free, or you can use more. It's very, very cheap, right? And then let me play the cool one, right? The cool one. Go over here. Log in. Maybe I don't. Oh, I thought it was on here. Whatever, I'll play this one.
An operating system driver is a small PP program that helps your computer communicate with the AHI hardware.
That is not a good one. I think that was one of my test ones. Because you can get him to stutter correctly. Because he stutters like a lot.
The styling is very important.
Whatever. Here's my voice.
On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, warm smell of...
Kind of quiet. But go ahead and have fun. Check it out. And you'll see. All right. We've gone off on the side too. I think far enough. So let's get back to our core content here. Absolutely beautiful, bro. Yep, that's one. We have more coming soon. And lots of improvements on the platform. So that's how we plan on being commercially or sustainable, is through our commercial products, which pretty much have nothing to do per se with education. So that way we can keep the education free. But also, it's really quiet right now. Hold on. But also our donators and supporters. We like volunteers more than we do donators, because what are we going to use the money on? We're going to use the money on paying people to do a job. If you want to volunteer your time, well, congratulations. You just saved us money. So we take that over anything else. All right. Let us go ahead and continue here. So we need to add the logic. So again, this is another chicken the egg scenario, and you'll constantly run into these as you are developing. Again, just choose one, roll with it, and then do the other one. So right here is, do we make the server first or do we make the client first? It can be argued that you can do one or the other. It does not matter, right? It does not matter. I'm going to do the server first because I think that would be just better for me, because when I do it on the client, I kind of just want it to work. But for you, may be easier if you do it on the client first, just because you might be able to get more visual feedback. Because doing on the server first, again, is potentially one of those moves in programming where you have to write 500 lines of code, not really see if it works at all, and then run it. All right. So again, totally up to you. Let's go ahead and do it in here. So we know right off the bat we need to do a while loop, and we can just go ahead and have this run forever for now. We're going to want to change that, and we need the receive code. So let's go ahead and grab this receive and put it in here. Now this, since it is running on its own thread, will halt, because again, this is a blocking function. So it's going to just sit there and wait until it receives something from the user. So technically this won't spin up our CPU like we've seen before with our while loops when they're set to true, which it will send it up to like 20-30% usage. This will just hold and wait. So we do want to make it so the while loop does cancel, and that would be based off of what the user gives us, right? So if the user sends us, again, we're doing this with strings, but again, it would be most ideal, better if you didn't, right? You can, if you want, you could do, it'd probably be best, actually, let's do it with JSON data. That's even better. I don't know why I didn't think of that. We'll do it in string format, but we'll do JSON data. Or should we? We can just do dictionaries. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll make it up as we go. All right. But let's just go ahead and throw an if statement here. So if, and we need to save this off. So, are we just saving off? Okay. Let's say we'll just call this data. So the data they sent us, if the data they sent us is equal to exit because it's a string. Oh, there it is. Go ahead and break. All right. How can I volunteer and what can I volunteer with? Great questions. Another side tangent. All right. Only because we are desperate for volunteers. If you go over to the Discord, there's lots of great channels in here. You can volunteer your time to figure out a better layout for all the channels in the Discord. All right. There's one thing right there. But there is volunteering ops. All right. So these are all the ways you can potentially volunteer, specifically ones that we're really looking for. So these are like high in demand items that I've pushed out. Additionally, this one's kind of hidden. If you go to programming help, there's how to become a champion here. We call our volunteers champions. And these are a list of different ways you can be a champion. So pushing a meaningful contribution to one of our existing GitHub repos, creating a new meaningful GitHub repo for us to utilize, editing YouTube videos, writing YouTube video scripts, creating graphics, teaching a class, writing a blog post, helping with any tasks that I post over in volunteering ops, and just being active in the Discord. This one, a little bit more difficult than it seems like, because you have to be very active and very helpful for people. But yeah, there's pretty much something for everyone, right? Something for everyone. Yeah, we're community driven. So anyone that has an idea for anything at any time, hey, we might end up doing it. That's what some of our classes here. We have an AI class coming up, so make sure you guys are joining for that. That was requested by like 1,500 people because of the AI aimbot stuff. All right, so I gave in to the peer pressure, and so we're doing that. We have our Hack the Flag event. We're also going to have a front-end dev class here soon. I'm waiting to hear back on the times that would work best. So basically, we're going to talk about if you are a front-end dev or you want to be a front-end dev, what exactly you should be doing for your front-end career. Now, I'm not a front-end dev myself. I do know a good amount about front-end dev. So intro people, I can definitely show you what you should be doing for your next steps. But after that, we would need to pull in a SME in regards to front ends for more stuff. All right. Let us continue here. So we got our while loop. So we should see this in action. Additional benefit of this is we need to modify the client. But we'll notice our client will now stay connected and won't forcefully quit anymore, like how we have been seeing. You know, we enter our name, we press enter, and it kind of just quits, right? Oh, why am I yawning? I have coffee right here. All right. So, what if you want to move? What if you want to move? That could be a potential issue. Now, like I said, we could use JSON, which is a great way to send over data, because that's just a structured way to send over data, right? We could send over JSON. We could make a dictionary, pickle it, and send that over. There's lots of ways we could go about doing this. Again, let's just do JSON data. All right, let's just play around with some JSON data because we've seen it before. Let's play around with it some more. JSON data also is extremely common, especially for enterprise applications in regards to you sending messages to other people. It's pretty much all JSON. Always has been. All right. All right, so let's go in here. If we're going to be using JSON, that means the string is going to be stringified JSON data, and we need to change it from JSON into a dictionary. So we're going to go with import JSON, and here we're going to say JSON dot, and this works very similar to pickle, as you guys have seen. We got dumps and loads. This is going to be loads, and loads is S for a string because we're going to be loading in a string, and the string is going to be our data here. So let's go and say that. So this is going to be loading in that JSON data and converting it to a dictionary automatically for us. So we'll just say now data is equal to this. So we can't say exit anymore. What we can say is data dot get exit, this first part, because again, remember, get is a way, let's go ahead and type that so we can get our dot notation stuff. Get is a way for you to effectively look through a dictionary like normal, you know, like this, except get will handle failures. If this key doesn't exist, that's okay. It will just return none. If you try to do that normally, again, it's going to error out. All right, it's going to throw an exception. So this is a way to safely do it. So if exit is a thing, all right, then go ahead and break. All right, go ahead and break. Just join the Discord. Perfect. You're on your way to become a programming god. All right, that's all I gotta say. All right, so let's continue here. We don't need the sleep anymore. Now we want to do a move. All right, we want to do our move. So we can make it so we have another if statement here. I swear this thing. Look, you guys have seen this, right? You're seeing what I'm seeing, right? I don't remember telling it anything about moving. That's removing a player from the map, moving a player, putting the player on the map. I don't really. Oh, I guess that kind of makes sense. I didn't even say it. Just move it. But I'm okay. We'll go with this. All right. We're kind of scared of our AI overlords. Again, if you guys are new, this is GitHub Copilot, and this is not even the new version. The new version is being slowly rolled out right now, and it's been pretty good. I've been absolutely loving Copilots. Like I said, Microsoft is on a roll right now. This is exactly what we kind of want. We have a JSON piece of data, and what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm going to go and write it out here so we can visually see it. The client's going to send some JSON data that's going to look like this. All right, so it's going to say move and potentially a coordinate. Now, I don't know if I like this way per se. So this would be the X and Y we want to move to. We would need to write logic then to enforce that move to make sure that is a valid move they can make. I don't really like that, all right? Because clients, clients, users will always try to mess everything up. Intentionally or unintentionally, usually unintentionally, they are little demons. So what do we do with little demons? We take the little child and we put him in a little cage and say, this is your little area, all right? I think it would be more beneficial if instead we just utilize up, down, left, or right. And of course there would only be one value because you could only move one at a time. Or to keep things a little bit lighter, we could do 0, 1, 2, and 3, right? Each one of those numbers would correlate with up, down, left, and right, right? So I think we'll go with the integer values, just keep it smaller. So that means that will dictate how we do our move logic here. Now, this function should definitely go down here, or should it go in the saved section? Actually, before we move on any further, I think I did a little whoopsie here. We forgot to move into a new branch. So if we do a get status, we can see we're in dev right now. So let's go ahead and get checkout tag B into our new feature here. And this is going to be for the move command. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Move command, pretty generic, so we can modify the client and the server both in this branch, since it entails both of them. It's not specific or specific enough. So now that we moved, let's go ahead and do our git push, just so that's branch is made on GitHub. All right, sweet. Go and run. Let me close this. All right. So again, you could do this many ways you want. I like this way the best, but again, there's plenty of ways you can go about doing it. We do want to start utilizing shared here, because again, when a client wants to move, how do they know what are valid moves? All right. So the shared repo, we want to let them know that if they want to move, going up is a 0, going down is 1, and keeping that basically synced across both our server and our client. So all we can do is just making something simple here in shared. Let's make it player configs.py. So inside of here, we're just going to say that up is equal to 0, down is equal to 1, left is equal to 2, right is equal to 3. I believe there's also ways to make enums in Python. Let's go ahead and go to Bing and ask our assistant here, Python make enum. And let's see what good old Bing has to say for us. Are you developing a game or what exactly? This is gonna be, we're gonna be going through this project until these last items are done, and then we're switching to a new project. The whole point for the last couple days was we introduced threading, and so this project is a slightly larger project to show how threading can be incorporated in different applications. We chose a game server because games are fun. All right, but this is way bigger than game servers. This is for anything. But we showed how to do threading in a bigger application and race conditions that can happen with threads and deadlocks, which the deadlock we actually haven't gone over yet. We forgot to show that off. So maybe we'll add that to tomorrow. Where's Bing? So let's see. Kind of. There's an enum thing we can import and make that a part of the class. We're not going to even mess with that right now. All right. So this is shared across up, down, left, and right. So this way we can import this file on the client and on the server, and they both understand what up, down, left, and right is equivalent to. What is the data that must be passed across? So here in player, let's go ahead and make our function for moving. Def move self, and now we can go ahead and make this. So if they want to move, we also need to know how they want to move. So let's say direction. All right. So it even wanted to type it for me. So let's go and let it type it. So we want them to move into a direction. They need to let us know what direction they want to move in. So then we can go ahead and put our logic here for that. Is it going to write it for me? Close. I swear, it just starts writing more and more. It even commented. All right, remove player from the map. All right, self current core equals 0. All right, that looks correct. Move the player. So the direction is equal to, and we want to change this to up, down, left, and right. We forgot to do our import, so let's go into the top here, and we're going to let's just do instead of from, let's just do a normal import. Libs dot shared. I guess we could do dot player configs. I guess we can just do a from. So from import, and we want up, down, left, and right. So those are all imported. There we go. So this is also very common in C. You'll see lots of enums be used. And this is why things look very visual sometimes in C, because no one likes numbers, not even programmers, all right? So using words or verbiages to replace the numbers just makes everything easier. So to double check this, ones are going to be our y-axis. So moving up should be always on the 1. So moving up should be a +1, right? Moving up, I believe 0, 0 is in our top right corner. So this would actually need to be minus. This would need to be a plus. Left and right, left, move left, that will get minus. All right, so and both of these need to be 0, and right's going to be plus for our grid system. So this is specific to the grid system that we have, at least I'm assuming based off my little mental logic there. The only last issue we have here, again, you gotta always be checking, you gotta always be thinking worst case scenario. Our map, does this protect them from going off of the map? No, it does not. All right, so they can currently traverse off the map. So we should set up some logic here to protect them from moving off of the map. So let's go ahead and do that here. Let's just do it at the end. Should we do that at the end? Self-coordinate 0. We could just do it here. Let's go and just start typing it out and figure it out as we go. All right, so we need to make sure that our map, which we believe we should have on our player here. Do we not have the map on our player? That might be an additional issue we will need to resolve. We have ID, connection, thread, username, refresh, and coordinates. We have no concept of the map. I believe that's being done in player management. No, it's not. I swear to God we had the map in here. Where is the map? Well, this is taking too long, so let's just go ahead and put a to-do here and even see, let's just see if this works first, right? So to-do, look at that, exactly, collision detection, that's what we need to do. So we'll just add a to-do so we can check into this later, right? And check it out. Side tangent, if you are using VS Code, there is a plugin, I think just called To-Do. To-Do Tree. Highly recommend it. It's pretty awesome. So if you have To-Do Tree, on your sidebar here in this little To-Do tree here, this icon, if you click on it, you'll actually see when you open up, you'll only see the files that have to-do statements in them, and you can open them up and it will list all the to-do statements. And so you can click on them and it will take you directly to all the to-do statements immediately, which is really nice. And I guess those count as to-do statements also. So super cool, super awesome, nice plugin, highly recommend it. All right, let us continue here. Any other questions, comments, concerns? I'll close this. I guess we will be continuing tomorrow in regards to this because it is 30 minutes in right now. This should work. All right, we just need to call our move function right here. So we need to replace all of this logic. Instead, we want to say self move. And in our move, this is actually exactly what we need. So this is, we're just seeing if this actually exists. All right, so is not none, right? So if this is not none, because we don't want to leave this by itself, because again, 0 is equivalent to false. So if someone wants to move up right now, this won't run. So we need to be specific. This get by default will return none. So we just want to do a check. If it's not none, that means move was made and passed to us. All right. And if move was made and passed to us, then we want to pass what direction they want to move in to the move function, which will move us on the map. After they move us on the map, we do need to send to the user, all right, the updated map. So again, xmap, oh, map, run. Ooh, this may be a bigger issue at hand. We're going to need to modify our logic a little bit because the map is being given here to the spawn. Target run. Oh, it's right here in run. Run has the map. Okay, I knew we had the map somewhere. So this map we need to shove into our move. Do we need to shove it into our move? Yes, for the collision detection. We'll get back to it. Never mind. You can figure out. That's a challenge for you guys. Figure out the collision detection. I'm just going to leave it in a broken state like that. So that way we can get on to the client and so forth. I think we are golden right now. We are moving here. This is moving us, moving the coordinates, putting us back onto the map. The last thing we need to do is send the map back to the user. All right, so where is our map logic? Where are we sending the map to the user? Sending right here, map pickling. All right, this you'll see is about to go from normal dry logic to wet logic. Now we have this thing twice, all right? We have these two lines twice. That sets this up as the perfect candidate for, that's right, for making it into a function. So we should probably make a function here called def send map. Will it auto write it for me? Look at that, auto wrote it for me. Connection dot send pickle dump map. Perfect. This is exactly what we want. Now it's arguable on whether the player should have this function or it should live somewhere else. All right, that again, it works. That's all that matters. All right, is that it works. If this was going to be a bigger application, you're going to want to put more thought into it, because again, you don't want to dev yourself into a corner, which arguably some of these we have devved ourselves into a corner, but it's mostly just to show the examples of everything, not to be a perfect piece of code. So let's go ahead and replace this with self.sendMap, and we can replace this second section here with self.sendMap. Now we are sending the map off to the player. So pretty much anytime, again, this works very similar to the API server. We send data and we then wait until we accept some data back. That's how the TCP connections primarily work, all right? It works just like a function, except more manual sending and returning, all right? If we want to run a function, we have to run the function by sending data in executing that function, and that function then will return data to us. All right, what we're doing here over the wire is exactly the same thing. So we should have everything we need to have in order for our client to move. Let's go ahead and just run the server. I don't think it's going to cause any type of error because it doesn't get to that logic, but we can run it anywhere just to see and kind of feel safe somewhat for now that it does start. So let's go ahead and modify the client now so it will execute these move commands and we can see our guy move around on the screen. Again, the coolest part about this is the client does absolutely nothing. All it is rendering the map. The server is handling this in potentially hundreds to thousands of other people at the exact same time, which is the coolest part, all right? And that's the power again of your threads and threading things threading things. What would you recommend as a must-have extension for VS Code? Great question. Great question. Must-have, there's only one must-have, and that is, let me pull it up right now. Material icon theme. The default theme in VS Code is absolutely terrible. Download this theme or a theme like it and use it. All right, look at all these pretty logos and icons that you get. All right, you can see them all here. It looks absolutely beautiful. This is the only must-have. All right, if I see you with the default VS Code, I see people all the time, including people from NVIDIA, all right, that are doing live streams, and I see it, I'm like, I'm disgusted in you. Why are you even talking right now? All right. Besides that, everything else is pretty much. I have that one from your first videos. Perfect. Then they're pretty much good to go. Everything else, pretty much it just depends on what you're doing, because like the Python ones don't really matter unless you have Python. The Docker one doesn't really matter if you're doing Docker, etc., etc. I would highly recommend, after using it and for the last week or something like that, GitHub Copilot. This, again, it costs like $20 a month. If you do a lot of programming, I highly recommend coughing up the $20 a month. If you don't, and you don't really have money to spare, then don't buy it, all right? You can use Bing chat here, and it's basically the same. It's a little bit slower, but I'm pretty much sold on Copilot, all right? And it's not even using the new, it's using the older GPT-3. I think it uses 3.5. It's not even using 4 yet. Would you recommend Copilot when first starting out with coding? Yeah, sure. You should definitely use Copilot. It will definitely help you out. Mostly, it won't help you out in the same way as me. It will help you out in the sense of, oh, it's trying to auto-gen something. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to press tab and run it and see what happens. Oh, I guess that worked. I guess that's the code I need. Or, oh, that didn't work. Not sure what it... Like, you'll have more questions or you'll observe more. For me, it's... of course, there's occasionally where it's like, I don't really know how to do this, but it auto-generates for me. Mostly, it's just huge on time savings, right? Absolutely huge on time savings. I can't express it enough, all right? I use it religiously now, and it's awesome. Is it better to do things... Oh, I guess I kind of missed that one. Is it better to do things on the client side or server side? Because making things happen makes the server is heavier, right? So we talked about this a couple days back. It always depends. That's the thing for programming and pretty much everything in life is it just depends, and it depends on what you want to do. It depends on your budget, XYZ. In a perfect world, you want everything to be done on the server, period, right? Because clients are untrustworthy, all right? Malicious things can happen on the client side. You can't trust them, so everything should be done on the server for validation sakes, etc., etc., etc. But, well, except for rendering of pictures and stuff, or video game assets, or other various assets that most cases shouldn't really be done on the server, right? It should be done on the client because that's all that matters unless you're streaming video streams over. But the server is pretty much the thing. Except the more you do on the server, the heavier your load's going to be, the more processing power you need, the more power you consume, the more money it costs. Maybe you need more servers now because your server is very limited on how many users it can have at once. You know, there's always something that will be the limiting factor. So you got to figure that out, whether it's server, bandwidth, money, whatever. So then you got to figure out how much can you offload to the client and how much can you do on the server. Again, totally up to you on how you want to go about it. These are use cases most people won't run into particularly like very often. This is something like if you're making a bigger project, you may run into. And again, there are lots of applications out there that people have already solved this. People that are smarter than me and maybe smarter than you have already solved this. For enterprise grade software, a lot of Apache products. If you're using Unity or UDK, they have things for making your game servers. All right. Again, this is not, we're doing a game example, but this isn't for games. This is for everything. This is for your enterprise level applications also. You want to do a distributed machine learning application that uses a server farm? Great. You're going to need to know how to do threading. All right. This is bigger than that. All right. And you run into this exact same issues as you do in the video game world. All right. Nothing's unique. It's all universal. I work 5 days a week. How long would you say it would take me to complete the comp sci certs? Requirements. Also, how do I get the training info in the table of contents? Doesn't, or I see some stuff below that. Doesn't slow the user's experience. Go for a Copilot? No, I don't. No. You're going to be using it in the real dev world also. That's like the same argument of don't use a calculator because you gotta type it all manually. Like, use a calculator. Come on. Use Copilot. Right? It's there to be your assistant. You'll have it in the real world, so you might as well use it when you're practicing too. All right? You can use it on the exam. All right? You can use it on the exam. You can use any AI assistant you want on any of our exams. All right? We embrace all the new technology up front. It just means our stuff's going to be harder. We're going to expect more from you because if you have access to an AI assistant, then you should be able to do more stuff now. All right? Changing with the times, not being stunted by them. I work 5 days a week. So for that, it's up to you. It's up to how much free time you have and how much you want to know life it. And how fast you learn. If you're like me, I'm slow. takes me a very long time to learn something, all right? If you're faster than that, then it should be relatively quickly. If you're doing no lifing every single day after work and on the weekends, then I don't know, maybe 6 months or less. It totally depends. The average person, it takes about 6 to maybe like 9 months to even that's actually fully dedicating. I think our internal average just states about 12 months for the average person, but again, it's all set up to be self-paced. So it could take someone literally 3 months, the whole 100 days, and they just get it and get it and they get it, and they spend lots of time practicing afterwards. But again, it's just you. It's based off of you. There's no pressure. I'll tell you one thing: it's not going to take 4 years like a normal degree if you stick at it, and it is longer than any other coding boot camp. Why? Because coding boot camps are a scam and they don't teach you jack shit. We're going to teach you pretty much everything you're going to get taught in college in potentially a fourth of the time if you go based off of our internal stuff. Sorry, my question was about the server side doing things. Doesn't it slow the user experience? It doesn't slow the user experience unless the server is slow. It depends. If you're making a FPS or something that needs to be real time, it still won't necessarily slow it, because again, watch the fundamentals. There's different ways you can send traffic. It just all depends. All right. It literally just all depends. Server is always best. Server is always best if possible. But again, it's not always possible. The world we live in is not black and white, right? Someone tries to tell you it's black and white, stop listening to them, unsubscribe, etc. Go somewhere else, all right? It's not black and white. It always depends. It always depends. They seriously and so on. Great. Yep. Yeah. The best way to figure out is just do it, try it, test it, and you'll learn kind of the guardrails. I don't have them on the top of my head right now for examples. So, and things are always changing. According to Kote, one of our previous employees, with the newest version of TCP, apparently it's, I don't know what the update entails, but apparently it's fast enough to run just full-time for your game connections, which usually for real-time game connections, which is usually reserved for UDP. So I don't know. Things are always changing. So if you are going into that, you always need to look into things and update. The comp sci world is different than any other world, period. It changes the fastest. All right. No other platform is going to change faster than the comp sci platform or comp engineering or whatever you want to call it. All right. Every year, 2 year, 3 years, pretty much everything gets rewritten. You will always be learning. I will make sure when I'm done with work for day to watch one video. That's what I recommend. We're going to leave the 100 Days of Rootkit chat open here in the Discord, so if you do have any questions, you can go ahead and just ask them in here. It's not too busy in this chat right now, so pretty much I will typically respond to all of them. As it gets more and more busy, I'll respond to them occasionally. It'll be pretty much on our volunteers, and you'll get higher priority on responses if you are a supporter. So if you are a Patreon member or a volunteer. Patreon, Discord Premium, which is our server subscriptions, and yeah, volunteers. All right. Before I answer more questions, let's go ahead and chug through this client. Oh God, it's already 51. All right, let me go ahead and write this up real quick because I want to have the client part done so you guys can play around with it before we end today's stream. All right, so we need our client to stay connected. So we are making the connection and then we're ending the connection here after the map is rendering. Same thing, we no longer want to end the connection right here. We want to have a while loop on the client side that will loop forever and stay connected forever. And look at that, it's already writing everything for me. We want it to stay connected forever. and effectively just be waiting to send more messages. All right, be waiting to send more messages. So let's go ahead and we can keep the map renderer here. I think we'll have this set up as a one-time go because we need to send in the username to get logged in. Well, we're going to receive the map from the first bit. After we receive that, then we're going to be able to usher in commands for now on, and we have to re-render the map. So instead of enter message, this is going to be enter command. Users currently don't know what commands are available for them, so that's a to-do that we need to do to print out. Let's do a to-do print out available commands. So they'll enter in a command, we'll send the command, and then we will receive the map again and re-render out the map onto the screen. Now, this, we're about to do it. I don't recommend this, but since we're so low on time, this will work. This is not the way we're going to keep it though. All right, this is not the way we're going to keep it. This should be enough to actually have things working right now. All right, what do I mean by that? Since we can input just raw data, we could just hand jam the JSON data, and the server, when it receives that data, I don't think we're for the moves, we're pretty much straight up receiving the data. We're not doing any parsing or cleaning up. We're just turning it from JSON into the data that we're going to interpret. So we can just hand jam JSON data and have it do the move we want. This is not an ideal client experience. No client or person wants to hand jam JSON data. So we're not going to keep it this way, but it works. So we're just going to do it for right now, just to show that it is working and in a working state. And tomorrow we'll continue our improvements here. So our server is running. Its server is started here. So let's go ahead and have our client connect. So Python and our client is connected. Let's give ourselves a username. Let's do a new username here. Let's call this, let's do another female name, Jill. All right, Jill has connected. Let me go and make this bigger. Jill has connected. She's here down at the bottom in the center. And now we have this prompt saying enter a command. So now we can go ahead and hand jam our JSON data. So we need to have a move, and we need to say where we want to move. Well, we don't want to run off the map, so let's go ahead and say we want to move up, which is going to be a 0. So if we press enter, if everything works, we should see our character move up. And look at that, we did, which means we are golden. Again, this is the cool part. We have multiple Python applications running. The server is multi-threaded. We're not doing any of this on the client. We're sending a request to the server that we made. The server is fulfilling that request and then sending back the map for the client to render out, which we're doing right here. All right, this is super awesome, and we can go ahead and move to what is this? The right, or that was the left. Let's go and move to the right. That was down. Let's move back up. I think it's a 3 to the right. There we go. So we can see we can easily now move around on the map. We can also move off of the map. So if I press enter, you'll see that we moved off the map, and it broke so hard that our renderer for the map broke too, because it just is just freaking out, because it's like, what do you mean? I can't render the player off the map. This is the map right here. All right. So that's a whole nother can of worms that needs to be fixed, but we have darn done it. All right. We have darn done it. What questions, comments, or concerns do you guys have in regards to the code that we just wrote? While you guys ask that, again, we got to finish up with our git commit. So let's go and do our git add all, git commit, and we'll say here that we added the ability to move. We'll go ahead and git push that up, so that way we can save off all of our improvements, and there we go. So again, tomorrow I'm about to read chat. If you guys have anything else to say, please go ahead and dump it in before we end today's stream. Tomorrow we'll continue. We'll clean up the client a little bit so it's not as hand jammy. No normal user wants to enter in JSON data, even if they don't even know what JSON data is. All right, so we're gonna make that simpler for them to understand. Let's see here, and we'll continue on our README here. So we can check this one off. Made one extra command because we did finish up this. And we can check off this client because be able to request commands to be executed. We are successfully doing this on the client. So we only have one real task left. There are bugs, there are to-dos, there are things we can do to make this better, all right? Those you can approach afterwards. Again, lots of software out there is very buggy or poorly done. There's multiple reasons why. A mix is the same reason that our stuff is buggy. We're just trying to rush through it to get it done with, out there, and move on. All right? A lot of companies do the same thing, mostly because of monetary constraints or timelines they want to meet. The other side is just really bad devs. Really, really bad devs. All right? One thing is Riot Games. You guys know a small game called League of Legends? Constantly get bugs. And it's because of bad devs. All right, that's what it is, straight up. All right, they're just really bad devs. There's no excuse for some of this stuff. I'm gonna be honest. It's pretty wild. All right, let's go ahead and look at the comments here. I loved Nate in the journey. Would you like it to talk on Discord? Message for you. Can you move player multiple times in one command, for example diagonally? Well, we're the god of this program, so we can totally do that if we want. We currently don't have that set up because again, if we go over to our player here, we're only accepting up, down, left, and right, and we're only accepting these, if we go right here, one at a time. One at a time. So one request comes in, we interpret that one move request, and that is it. We could modify this. So instead of move, I just messed up a lot of stuff there. Instead of move being, for example, is it still here in the terminal? Let's scroll up. Instead of move being a JSON piece of data that has just one move item in it, which is, you know, move 3, whatever 3 is, I think that's moving right. We could turn this into an array if we wanted, and so that way when we move it would execute an array of movements. This is something that you know could totally be done, especially if for example, I don't know, maybe you're making a Civ clone, all right? Your new Civ 20 clone or something, all right? In Civilization, if you ever played it, characters can move one space or they can move potentially like 5 spaces or even more than that. This technically could be exactly how you would go about doing that, all right? This is just moving one space, and if this was an array, the array would be all of the spaces you want to move, all right? So it's totally, again, it's totally up to you. We're just showing off this example. LOL has bad devs, question mark. Wow, that is huge. What one example? Yeah, lots of companies have bad devs. It's very common. Lots of college grads are not good devs. They're very bad. Mostly because they've been just completely screwed over by the college system. It's not even funny. They're just straight up scammed. Yeah, it's not even good. It's so bad that pretty much it's harmed the whole industry. No one wants to hire intro level devs anymore because they suck. They're just straight up terrible. So that's why most job listings that you'll see are not for intro level, because no one wants intro level. We partner with people and have our certs that require a higher level of knowledge than most college degrees even teach. So it's easier for us to get our intro level devs hired because they are not as shitty as most college grads. They're actually really, really bad. You would be astonished. Yeah, but can you pass an array? I think I already answered that. Yes. Yep. So, don't see any other questions, so I'll wait a couple more seconds here to see if there's any other questions that come in. Again, if you guys do have any other questions later on, you can always post it at any time in the 100 Days of Rootkit chat, and we will answer them. Alrighty. So I don't see any other questions, comments, or concerns. So that ends today's stream. So I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next one. How are you gonna ask the questions so late? Alright? So late like that. Alright. If you have any more questions, ask them right now. Alright? Ask them right now while I read these. Or just post them in the Discord. Alright? And I'll respond on Discord. How deep do you go into teaching how to hack or exploit? We will teach you all the fundamentals. We will teach you all the fundamentals, and we will hit on how to exploit your own applications. Whatever is relevant to the topic, you can go back and watch the previous days for that. The next thing to learn, we have plenty of resources on our Discord that we link to. If I pull it up here. If you go over to the cybersecurity section, we have plenty of resources here in the pins for you to get started, specifically towards the end. All right, you can go down and get your CompTIA certs, which I highly recommend. Also checking out and utilizing Metasploit. You do not need to download Kali in order to utilize Metasploit. And then making an account on Hack the Box would also be good. And participating in our capture the flags, or hack the flags is what we call them, is a way to learn and potentially win money and merch while learning. All right, we are going to do some classes before the hack the flag to talk about some of the most common exploits and how you go about utilizing them. So definitely attend those to potentially get a leg up. What do you think about the map territory? I'm not quite sure what that question means. How do we catch the error of having the player run out of the map because we cannot crash the game? Should we, for example, return the player to the center of the map? That is totally up to you. You need to add your own, like I said before, you need to add your own collision detection. You can have them go to the center. You could just have it so the move doesn't go through. You can do whatever you want, right? You can do whatever you want. You have to just add it here. If you want a copy of all this code, either watch the stream and follow along and write it down, which I recommend the best way because you're typing it all. Or if you are if you have access to the supporter chat, aka Patreon members, Discord premium members, and champions all have access to it. I drop the code in here at the end of every class and you can download it. There is, on our server subscriptions, you can do the bit tier for 1 week. So you can do it for 1 week and then get access to the supporter chat if you want. And it's free. So after completing the course and getting certified by Rootkit, what kind of jobs do you help me get? Are they remote? Sure, totally up to you. We have our partners, our partner companies, which we prefer to refer to you to, and those vary from remote to not remote. Most of our partners, though, are going to be US-based companies, so I don't know if you guys are in the US or not. We do have one company that's out of the US over in Bangladesh. Besides those companies, we can get you hired pretty much anywhere. You don't technically even need our cert to get hired. I mean, I had lots of jobs before Rootkit and never had a cert because there's never been a cert that exists until now. All right, and no college degree, no nothing, and did very, very well. Right, did very well. So you don't need one. It helps though because again, you're a wild card if you don't have one. Companies are a little worried about you. That's why they usually will say that they want years of experience. But it's kind of hard to get years of experience if you can't get a job. So we're here to bridge the gap for you. All right. I've already done a lot of the hard work for you. So now I'm here to make your life easier. So get the cert. We'll help you apply to pretty much any company you want. We'll let you know how realistic it is for each company, but no company is off the limits. Remote work, sure. A lot of dev jobs are remote work, so you can get a remote work job if you want. All right? Nothing is off limits. We'll help you with anything. Yeah. Well, use and abuse us before we have to start putting up more paywalls. Unless we get lots of volunteers that can help. But if we can't handle everyone, then we'll have to do paywalls. I mean, the certs are a paywall. You have to pay to get certified, and then you just get all these services for free. Everything that's listed on our site. All right. If you guys do have any more questions, go ahead and put them in the 100 Days of Rootkit, and I'll answer them. But that's all I got for you guys on this one, so I'll see you guys on the next one.